Someone's O's got to go. It's Joseph Parker versus Andy Ruiz. I'm Teekosey, and this is with just 15 defeats. Welcome to With Just 15 Defeats, the YouTube boxing show that packs a heavyweight punch. I'm your host, my name is Teekosey, and in today's show we're going to be discussing the big matchup between Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz Jr, which is taking place in approximately 5 weeks from the moment I'm recording this video. So if you like what I've got to say, please give this video a thumbs up. If you've got anything to say, if you want to get involved, click on the comment section below, hit me up a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget that you can check out my channel, subscribe if you can. I would really appreciate it, because every subscriber helps the channel progress further. When you're there, you're going to be able to see some of my other videos. I've put up a few videos recently, including a video discussing the Ortiz versus Scott fight, which is coming up in a couple of weeks as well. I've also discussed the situation with Tyson Fury, whether he's finished, what's led to his downfall, etc. I've also discussed the weight classes in boxing and whether they're an issue, how easy it is to jump up the weight classes as well. So go and check out all that good stuff. Remember, hit me back with comments. That'll be brilliant. So on to the main event, which is this matchup: Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz Jr. Two guys who are undefeated, which we always like an undefeated matchup, primarily because it's the unknown. We don't know whether, we don't really know what the guys that what they've got. If they've never lost, usually people aren't invincible. We've seen that with Klitschko. Regardless of however many victories he's had, he's been beaten many times. So two undefeated guys should be exciting. So let's just start with a bit of a rundown about the two individual fighters. So let's start with Andy Ruiz Jr. He's got a record of 29-0 with only 19 stoppages. He's been a professional since 2009, so approximately 7 years. He is about 6'2", and he weighs in around about the 250-ish mark, probably north of 250. Now, this is it's always been a concern to me with Andy Ruiz Jr. Is his shape, because he looks out of shape. He doesn't look like an athlete. And I think my main problem is not that he's a big guy, because we see a lot of big guys out there. We see a lot of guys that are carrying extra weight. I think the problem with Andy Ruiz Jr. for me is always that the extra weight that he carries is so flabby. It isn't just extra weight; it is flabby. It shakes, it rattles, it is jelly, and it's I wouldn't say it's off-putting, but it can't be helping him. Now, a lot of fighters like to put on extra weight because they feel it gives them a weight advantage. They think they're going to be putting more power behind their punches, and you see a lot of guys that are probably maybe slightly too big for cruiserweight, who can't be bothered to stay down at cruiserweight. They'll put on their extra weight. Okay, so they're not fighting at their optimum weight. Okay, they put on extra weight because they need it. They can't fight at 205 or 210. They need to have that little bit extra, so they'll pack it on. Whereas someone like Andy Ruiz Jr., as I say, he's fighting at north of 250. He's actually fought as heavy as, what was it now? I noted this down earlier. He's been as heavy as 297. Let that sink in. He's fought as heavy as 297, which is incredible for a guy who is only 6'2". He's only 6'2". He should never be at that sort of weight. To be honest, even north of 250 for someone who's 6'2" is way too much. He should be down about the 235. I think if he really got in optimum shape, we're talking probably 215. But it is what it is. A lot of people think it's not a problem. He's obviously undefeated to date. He is 6'2", but when he gets in the ring, he looks short. I've never quite worked out why that is, and I'm sure when he gets in the ring with Joseph Parker, who is only 2 inches taller, Joseph Parker is going to look significantly taller. We'll see when that happens. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr. he's a competent boxer. A lot of people like him. A lot of people rave about his skills. They feel that he has got skills capable of becoming a top world champion. Now, he leads with the jab, which is fairly rapid. He fights with combinations, and he has very good variations in the types of shots that he throws. He's not one-dimensional at all, but he does come forward. His movement isn't fantastic, and personally, I feel that he lacks the power in not only his regular punches, but in his knockout ability. And we always know that you need to be able to make someone respect you with the power of your punches. And if you can't do that, that's always going to be a problem. And I feel that's possibly something that holds him back. Now, the other thing with Andy Ruiz Jr. is that whilst he starts fights quite mobile, the movement's there, his head movement starts quite good, his defense deteriorates rapidly. I mean, very, very quickly. Within a few rounds, it's almost like he's a completely different fighter. He gets hit fairly regularly. He gets hit a lot. And to date, he's got away with it because he hasn't really fought anyone of any note. And that's always the case. And a lot of us guys will criticize boxers for the CV that they have. Sometimes it's not their fault, but whatever is the case, we can only judge them on what they've done to date, who they've been in the ring with, and how well they coach. Now, he hasn't fought anyone of real note to date. He's got some names that are okay-ish. He has fought a former world champion, but he was very shot warm by the time he got in the ring with Ruiz Jr. There isn't really anyone there that is a notable standout win on his record. He's recently gone 10 rounds with Franklin Lawrence, who is very, very limited. Very limited. He's fought Josh Gormley and a very old Ray Austin in this year. So he hasn't got any notable wins. He's also the knockouts that he's got in recent years have not been against his better opponents. Even now, see, the concerns that I have with Andy Ruiz are stamina, getting into deep water. I think we haven't really seen him in deep water against high-level opposition. And I feel fighting against someone who has the ability to fight at range and keep the distance, particularly the lack of reach that Andy Ruiz has, could be a problem. Okay, and and also he's never fought anyone with power. Even the guys that he's fought that had decent records, just say like Joe Hanks, Torheimer at that time, weren't known for having power. So he got away with coming in close, taking risks in order to get the victories. because he knew that the power was there and he could take that form of power. Now, for all we know, he can take serious power. He can take it and he can dish it out. He just hasn't had the opportunity to show it against the elite guys. Now, he's going in the ring with a guy that a lot of people are getting excited about. A lot of people are getting excited about him, and that is Joseph Parker. Now, Joseph Parker, he's got a record of 21-0 with 18 knockouts, so a higher knockout percentage. He's been a pro since 2012, so he's been a pro for 3 years less. Now, as I say, Joseph Parker's 6'4", he's going to be taller, and he comes in at around about the 230, 240 weight level, which is probably about the right weight for that sort of size. Now, Joseph Parker, as we say, a lot of people are getting excited about him. A lot of people are getting excited, and a lot of people are putting him as the favourite for this fight. Now, what Joseph Parker has, he has a very good jab. It's rapid, it's accurate, double, triple, quadruple. He can keep someone at bay. He can keep someone at bay, and he's got good power, and he knows how to finish. Okay. Now, the problems with Joseph Parker is that he hasn't got great head movement. He hasn't got great head movement, and his concentration can go in and out during fights. Whether that's due to he's quite a young guy, I don't know, but it ends up with him taking unnecessary risks. And we've seen this in a couple of his fights. Now, obviously, in most of his fights, he's been fairly comprehensive. He stopped people in devastating fashion. But for me, you've got the Takam fight stands out because it is, to date, his best opponent, his most credible opponent, and it was also his toughest fight. Now, a lot of people said that the Takam fight, Parker walked away with it. It was very one-sided. Couldn't be further from the truth. Could not be further than the truth. If you watch that and you try not to be biased, you'll look at it and you'll see that fight was incredibly close. Now, when I watched that fight, I gave Takam 5 rounds. I gave Takam 5 rounds. I gave one round a draw, and then I gave Parker 6. So 6-5. So in my opinion, that was an incredibly close fight. It was to and fro in. Both guys had good sections. As I say, Parker, there were occasions where he took risk due to lack of concentration. He took shots that he didn't need to. And when you step up, that's a risk. When you start getting in the ring with guys who have devastating power, that can be a problem. Okay, so Takam troubled him. And we knew that Takam, the way that Takam was going to be able to beat Joseph Parker was in closing the distance, not allowing Parker to establish that jab, roughing him up, getting in close, and he did that. He did that very well in a number of the rounds. Fortunately, Parker was able to win more rounds, getting good shots, and overall, he definitely deserved the victory. Now, just briefly, we'll just talk about the latest fight of Joseph Parker. I didn't put a video out on my channel because I was having a summer break at the time, just chilling and usually spending time with family, as we will have to. Now, Dimitrenko was the opponent. Now, Dimitrenko was an interesting opponent because he is a man of significant size, in fantastic shape, fairly traditional type boxer. Decent jab, decent stiff jab. He can box and he has the size. So if you're looking to work your way up to the super heavyweight guys, it's a decent guys to get in the ring. Like when we're talking about Wilder, Fury, Klitschko, Joshua, these sort of guys, Dimitrenko is a very good guy to get in the ring and have rounds with. That's who I would advise anyone to get in the ring with. That obviously Dimitrenko had a lot of limitations in the fact that he's been a professional for 16 years, and every time he stepped up to intermediate level, we'll say, he's been found wanting and he's been defeated. But anyway, we saw that fight and it was very, very comprehensive. Joseph Parker managed to drop a number of times, and then he got the stoppage. However, in my opinion, I think the fight probably should have been a no contest or possibly even a disqualification, because the fact that Joseph Parker hit him when he was down. And there's no two ways about it. He knew the guy was down, he hit him. And whether or not Demetrenko was seriously injured, he was rolling about quite a lot. It doesn't matter. The punch was thrown. We've seen fights in the past that have been that have gone the other way, have been disqualification for less than that. So that is what it is. But anyway, I think had it gone more rounds, it would have been more beneficial to Parker. So let's just talk about this fight specifically. Now, we've kind of inferred a few comments about how this fight could go either way. Now, we know that Joseph Parker is going to be the favourite. Everyone's expecting Joseph Parker to win. Despite the fact that, look, I'm not saying that Andy Ruiz Jr. isn't supported. He is massively supported. And if anything, he's going to have a bigger following. Because I know that I've put some videos up about Andy Ruiz Jr. in the past, and the hate that I've received off the back of those videos, has been quite incredible. My most downvoted video I think I've ever done. But anyway, so he has a massive following. He is talented, but most people will tell you that Joseph Parker is the favourite. Now, why is he the favourite? The favourite is because he's a specimen. He's got fantastic range of skills. He's got serious power, and he has got a devastating jab. Now, on the back of, and then on the opposing side, you've got Ruiz, who has good skills. He's got a good jab. He's got a never say die attitude, and he's got a good range of shots. Now, the problem with both of these guys is that they haven't really been tested at the highest level. The Takam fight is the best opponent either have faced in terms of fighting a decent prime fighter, and Joseph Parker was taking the full 12. So for Joseph Parker to win, he needs to stay on the outside. I think this is as simple as that. It is. I think both routes to victory are simple. Joseph Parker has to stay on the outside, and I think he will frustrate Ruiz Jr. He will damage him, and he will probably stop him later on. I think Ruiz is capable of definitely going into the later rounds, and it could even go to 12 rounds, to be honest. But I would expect Parker to win, probably by stoppage. But Ruiz Jr., now, his routes to win this are to getting close. It's simple as that. We know he's a good boxer. We know he's got a good range of shots. But if he's capable of taking away the boxing and jabbing ability of Parker, that's how he can win, I feel. I think he lacks the power. If he can get in close, if he can rough up Parker, if he can win rounds, steal rounds, it's going to go in his favour. I think this fight overall is a very interesting matchup. It's something that I'm genuinely looking forward to. I always look forward to the Parker fights, but for me, this is a good fight. This is a good fight, not only because they're undefeated, but because we don't know how good each one of them are. We don't know how far they can go. So it's going to be an interesting one. My personal tip is Parker, stoppage, probably 10 to 12 round stoppage. The odds, I believe, are heavily in favour of Parker as well, which is, as most people are predicting. I'm quite surprised that this fight's been made, to be honest. I think it's a massive step up in class for Ruiz Jr. He hasn't really fought any of the... Now, fighting Parker's another super prospect. And Ruiz hasn't fought anyone of decent level yet in their prime, which is kind of crazy. I know we've seen it with Anthony Joshua in the UK, just jumped straight up to fight for a world title. But this is slightly different. Yeah, so what happens next? Now, the interesting thing is that, as I say, this fight is for the WBO title, recently been released by Tyson Fury. If you want to know more about that, check out my channel. We've discussed Tyson Fury in great length in a very interesting debate. So get over to the channel and check that out. But he's relinquished the title, and this belt has become available, and the WBO have decided that this fight warrants the title. They had a few ideas to do a few other things, but in the end they've sanctioned this fight, and one of the two guys is going to get the title, and they're going to become another one of the world champions that we've got. It's a shame for Tyson Fury, but this is how it is. It opens up more champions. We've also heard that it's likely that the winner will be ordered to fight David Haye. Now this is interesting. This is interesting that David Haye, off the back of two pathetic fights that he had earlier in the UK against very low-ranked opposition or very low-quality opposition, has managed to obtain this world title opportunity. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether David Haye fights anyone else in between. There's a lot of talk about this Tony Bellew fight and whatever. I think he was looking for a big opportunity now, to this end of the year. I think he was trying to worm in the Anthony Joshua fight, maybe someone else, but he hasn't managed to get those opportunities. Maybe he wanted the Wilder, and Wilder's been out of action. He hasn't been able to get these opportunities, and somehow he's managed to worm his way into WBO and get this opportunity. Now, it'd be interesting to see when this happens, because Joseph Parker has fought exceptionally frequently. Will that continue? If he wins the title, will he continue this frequency of fighting every 10 weeks? I don't know. We'll wait and see. It'll be interesting to see. But I would have thought probably if a Parker versus David Haye fight probably won't take place until the spring. So that gives David Haye even more time to sit and stew and kind of get older, effectively. A fight between Ruiz or Parker versus David Haye is interesting, and I don't know. It's really difficult to predict, but because we still don't know what David Haye's got, because he hasn't fought anyone already. No, and if he has something, if he still has it, he probably beats both Parker and Ruiz. I've said it. It's as simple as that. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments for me, I want to hear from you. I want to discuss it with you. So let's debate in the comments below. And also give us an up like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give me an up like as well. That'd be great. And remember to subscribe to the channel. I'm Teekosey. This has been With Just 15 Defeats.